So to kind of get us warmed up here, I would like for everybody to take a second and type in the chat some of your biggest frustrations and pain points with virtual events. It could be your experience in setting them up, taking part in virtual events, or a specific platform that you have a particular problem with, whatever it may be. But go ahead and put those in the chat window, and we'll let our presenter Alex kind of look through those and get a feel for what your needs might be and how he can maybe address some of those things as he goes throughout the presentation or at the end of our session during Q&A. So today we are presenting Lunchpool, forget about virtual events, create visceral virtual experiences. And just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box in your Zoom control panel. And myself or Nick, my co-host here, will bring them up during the Q&A portion of the session following the presentation. And again, we are recording the session, so we ask that everybody remain on mute throughout our time. If you have a question at the end that would be best communicated verbally, just let us know and we'll call on you and we'll unmute everybody at that point. And of course, we expect everybody to follow a code of conduct that's outlined on our webinar website. So here's what you can expect from us today. This session has been designed to provide you with how to plan a virtual event, things that provide the attendees with an authentic experience and connections, how to get people to attend your virtual event and stay engaged throughout in a time of rising screen fatigue. I think we're all familiar with that at this point. And we'll also, Alex will give you some tips and tricks for maximizing attendee experiences and meeting your organizational goals. So now it's time for me to introduce our featured speaker today. We have with us Alex Abel. Alex is the founder and CEO of Lunchpool. He launched the company in January 2019, and the platform uses innovative technology to bring people together in virtual events that feel like the real thing. So nonprofit fundraisers, corporate lunch and learns, and education resource fairs are just a few of the turnkey experiences Lunchpool delivers for its clients. Lunchpool has 10 employees and has helped clients organize over 200 virtual events in the past 6 months alone. So without further ado, take it away, Alex.
I was about to demonstrate how you can be muted, and that's probably one of my biggest frustrations with virtual events. But thank you guys so much for having me. Thanks to the University of Tennessee for reaching out and allowing us to be part of this amazing webinar series. It's the new reality, right? How many times have you heard that? It's a cliche. We are, though, in a whole new world, and it's kind of crazy because at Lunchpool, we set out to do virtual lunch breaks back in January. And so I don't know if we had foresight or if someone from the team was psychic, but we didn't know that every lunch break was going to be virtual and every happy hour for a little while. So as things start to pick back up, as we start to be able to go back outside again, it's becoming even more important if you're going to continue with virtual events to make them engaging, to make them inspiring. So, I'm looking through the chat comments here, and some of the things that you guys said about them are they're painfully boring. There's technical issues all the time, which is frustrating. It's easy to get distracted. We're in a world where there's noise all over the place, monotony, low attendance. Here's what I'll do to kind of kick this off. I'm going to put a link in the chat here. So give me one word, because I'd love to read all these, but I'll read them later. But give me one word, if we can get that to work. And let's hear. Well, first, let's hear it for the University of Tennessee. What do you guys think of UT? Did you go there? We'll give it a star rating. So let's put up the results here. Oh, wrong screen. Technical issues. There we go. Already off the bat. All right. So we got some No ones and twos, so that's good. Somebody in here is probably snuck in from out of state, so we got, pretty good. There's some room for improvement. John, you need to take that back to the dean maybe. But yeah, so we'll go through a lot of different interactive elements today, because my hope and dreams for you, if you don't walk away with one thing from today's session, and is this thing, then I have not done my job. I have not entertained you. I have not kept you engaged. And there's no reason that you should believe that I can, that I can teach you how to do that for your guests. So the idea here is that you can and should create meaningful experiences for your audience. You want to make them feel alive. You want to help them reach their goals and connect everyone in meaningful ways. So it looks like the fives have it. So UT, good job. Way to go there. But you want to make them feel alive. Like, we feel so socially isolated these days. And that's like across the board. It's hard not to, when we're just spending all day with, hopefully you have a dog or a cat or some kind of pet. Hopefully you don't have to be cooped up with your spouse all day like I do, because I love my wife, but oh man, it was nice to have breaks from being around each other. And thankfully we take our daughter to the University of Tennessee Early Learning Center, and thankfully that's back open, because I love my daughter as well, and I got to spend a lot of time with her. But holy cow. Oh, hey Nate, my neighbor's on here. Hey man. But we're in a world where we're in these bubbles, and screens are in between us and the other people that we're interacting with. And so, my promise to you today is that we'll talk about some of the things that we've been able to do at Lunchpool that you can take immediately. This isn't a pitch. You don't have to hire us. Like, I'm going to show you literally how we run events, because anybody can do this. Like, we're really good at it, but you can do this stuff as well. You can go sign up for the tools that we use, the platforms, because if you don't know anything, I should probably back up to that. Lunchpool is a tech company, and we're almost obsessed. We are 100% dedicated on fulfilling the human need for meaningful connection. And we do that by bringing people together. Now, originally, it was in a corporate setting, by bringing people together for lunch breaks, happy hours, things like that, in person. Not the best business to be in with a global pandemic. So we quickly shifted to virtual events fully, and it's been a wild ride. I went from 2 employees to now we have 10. And we've done over 200 events. There was a while there where people were emailing me and saying, "Hey, I haven't heard back from you, and it's been a month." And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'll get right back to you." And then a month later, I got the same email. So now we have a bigger team. So if you have reached out in the past, I apologize. But I come from that background of in-person events, and I don't know if you can raise your hand on here, but show of hands, who misses going to conferences and waking up early and going to get that early breakfast before everybody swoops in, and meeting people in the hallways. I can see thumbs ups. Okay, yeah, raising the actual hand, I like it. That was awesome, and a lot of the value that I got, at least, and from our surveys that people got from in-person events, was not the speaker, it was not the content. Like, think about the conferences that you've gone to. Usually there's a big name keynote speaker, John Lacey headlining, Nate Cunningham, the man, the myth, the legend. They have this speaker with a big draw, and then they'll have plenaries and breakouts that you may or may not go to. But the real value, I feel like, is in the gathering. It's in the hallways. That's when you meet people, you talk about business, you talk about life, you're really connecting with people. And that's one of the reasons that we really miss conferences. And it's also, or missing that little piece of information is one of the reasons I feel like people are burnt out right now, because people heard virtual experiences or virtual events, like, oh, I got to shift over to virtual events. And what happened was they focused on the content, the programming, but not that connection. And so that's what we're going to go over today. If you want to go over anything else, you're probably in the wrong place. So, I'd like to give you guys a chance to exit now. I'm not probably going to take the whole hour and a half unless it just goes really, really well. But hopefully you've had some lunch and we'll kick it off. So I'm going to switch the Q&A there because I'd like to go back to what comes to mind when you think or hear the words virtual event. And I'm trying to message Trudy that, so let me go back to everyone. All right. So click, see if that link works. Does that link work for you guys? Nope. Hang on. Copying and pasting is hard, guys. All right, so I put a link up in the chat. If you click that one, it'll open up similar type thing that you just did in Slido. And we'll talk about tools and things that we use. And I can send a list out to John to share with everyone afterwards, but I love tinkering. My team tells me if my admin says, if you buy another freaking tool that we don't immediately use to make money, like I'm going to cut you. But, you got to play. Like that's, there's a lot of tools out there and you have to explore. And a lot of our clients hire us because we tinker, we look at the cool stuff and figure out how to really make it shine. So when you think of virtual event, what comes to mind? And I'll share on the screen here. All right, so we've got some interesting ones. The new normal, there we go again. Long, talking head, social distancing, please be over. I don't know who wrote that, but I can't agree with you there since we're in that business, at least just yet, until we shift back to in-person events. But look at that, boring. That's huge. And like, I think that means that a bunch of you typed that. So, I see some positive ones there too, smiling faces. So that's good. Hair and makeup, you got to focus on that. And that's why I'm wearing a hat, because I have a terrible haircut right now. But yeah, if you look at the bulk of these answers, it's not positive. And so, we're working at Lunchpool to shift that stigma, right? Like I love being face-to-face with people. In person is my preference, but I think that you can get pretty darn close and sometimes create even more meaningful experiences online. Because one of the good example, unengaging, it got bigger. I'm gonna turn this off, but you guys keep doing it. If you feel like you need to add something, I'll look at these later. But thanks for inputting on there. But face to face is the key, right? Nobody wants to be spoken to. There's too much technology and options nowadays to have this prevailing method that shifted from generation to generation and now everybody's using of one to many. Like I have a message, I'm going to get it to everyone at one, and I don't care if they have something to say. Like I'm an expert and you guys need to know. So that's the other thing we'll talk about today is engage in the chat. We'll have some sections where you can raise your hand and I'll put you on the spot and we'll ask you about your experience. And just let's have fun. People are craving connection. That's why we started Lunchpool. And it's really hard to have fun sometimes in a Zoom call with a bunch of talking heads waiting for your turn to speak and sometimes not getting a chance to speak. So again, I will fail today if I don't at least get one person up here talking to me besides John with his lovely intro. So what are the consequences if you don't listen to me? If you just keep doing what you're doing and say, that Alex guy, I'm going to tune out right now. I got so much work to do. I'm going to get in my inbox and man, I got to get these emails. I'm going to minimize this Zoom and put it on mute for a second. That could be okay. But if you're already seeing a decline in attendance, if you're already, you're getting feedback or you're not getting feedback at all, which is the worst, but you're hearing from people that, they just are overwhelmed, they're not attending because there's too much going on, then that's going to keep going on. And that's going to be really sad because, I mean, I would imagine you're probably spending some money organizing these events. I know our customers do, thankfully. That's, that's why I get to eat. But, if our customers, we actually just had a customer that she paid $4,000 for a hybrid event. And I told her when she tried to sign up, I said, this isn't the right format. Like you're gonna have mostly people in person, and that's fine. Don't hire us. And she's insisted she had a poor experience. I gave her money back. I was like, I don't want you to not have a great experience. So I think it's the same thing with you. Like, you have brands, you have organizations, and you want to make sure that that your attendees, your supporters, your audience, whoever you're trying to get to come to your events are having a great time, right? So let me know in the chat here. I'd like to know, which organizations are you guys from? Because I know Nate is. I know what you're with, Nate. He's really literally right down the road, probably in his house, stealing some of my internet bandwidth here. But you have Tennessee Language Center, CASA. We did an event with CASA out of Florida, so you'll like that. I'll show you. Junior Achievement. We've got some colleges, Boy Scouts, UT, UTK, go Vols. I'm a Georgia Bulldog originally, but my wife teaches at the University of Tennessee, so they afforded me my startup lifestyle when we weren't making money. So I'm a big Vols fan, by the way. So kind of all over the place. Public radio, symphony orchestra, and that's really representative of the people that are doing events. It's everybody. That's why my inbox blew up in June and I lost 30 pounds because I wasn't eating lunch. So, the first key, and sorry guys, I would have had a PowerPoint presentation, but for one, I kind of hate them. And for two, I couldn't get my PowerPoint to work. So going to, back to tech glitches, it happens. And when you run your own events, you probably know this, it will happen. Tech issues will absolutely happen. And it's important to be able to have a backup plan or think on your feet. So, people crave connection. People are hungry for meaningful experiences. And, show of hands, like, who could really, really use a beer with like a group that's probably inappropriate, or a beer or wine, I'll say, or water, a little meetup with people that's probably inappropriate for COVID times, mask free, like it's hard not to want that right now. And I do feel like we'll get back to that soon. Like, there's Pfizer made an announcement, there's things coming out. And I had people come to us and say, you're in virtual events. Are you scared? Like, is that going to kill your business? And I was like, I'm scared if we get stuck in this. We'll pivot to whatever we need to. We pivoted to virtual events. We've got plans. We're building out a platform that I'll show you part of today. I might show you the whole thing, who knows? But we're building out more technology to really supplement the virtual with the in-person. Like, it's, we got to get back to in-person. But for now, we're in virtual. So I'm going to show you how we have created virtual experiences in a sea, if you will, of virtual events. So the first step I'll say is the devil is in the details. And what do I mean by that? You gotta know your audience. You have to know what's important to them. You have to know, have an idea of what they're after, like what are their goals, and you have to really do that research. So, an example that I'll use is we were working with a technology group, and they have a huge audience. It's here in Tennessee, and they have a huge audience. But of that audience, because they're just a technology group, that's their working title, or I'm not going to give their name away, because they do a lot of things right. But they started putting out weekly events, and they were very niche, and they didn't have quite the audience to fill that. So, sometimes you want to get with a bigger group, and you go to these things, and it's been promised that it's going to be 100, 200 people and there's 13 people there, it's not really a good look for them. And it's kind of indicative that they should have done a little bit more research, because maybe people don't care about, DevOps, and maybe people do, and you're just targeting the wrong people. But knowing your audience, knowing who you're speaking to, is key. So John and the rest of the staff that put on this webinar series were gracious enough to share the attendee list with me. And now it's very varied, but I put some examples that we'll look at in just a little bit of our fundraisers, which I know some of you nonprofits probably want to raise more money from the people that support you, and find new ones. There's a few corporate entities here. I come from a corporate background, so I try not to work with enterprise. I'm just kidding, but seriously. But nonprofit and education, I think those are really the people feeling the brunt of things right now. I mean, nonprofit dinner galas, that's something that you do in person, but we're crazy and we do it online. So I'll show you a little bit of that, and I'll show you, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and really step by step our whole process. So give me a thumbs up if you guys are good with that agenda. I know that was a really long setup, but Faith gave me a thumbs up. Nick gave me a thumbs up. Nate, I think his thumb's always up. Just kidding with you. I'm really not funny, so I apologize for that as well. But so we'll jump right in. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for being here. This will be recorded. If I don't know why anybody would want to watch it later. Like, this is the stuff that we do at Lunchpool is about being there, and so that's part of the reason I didn't bring a PowerPoint today. And if you guys want a PowerPoint with this information, let me know. I can put one together. We could probably use that for marketing purposes or something. But yeah, let's jump right in. And actually, I'm sorry, I have one more little preview before I show you the cool stuff, or one little tidbit. Technology has a bad rap these days, right? It's we blame it on all of our woes. Like, I'm not going to make you raise your hands or thumbs up again, but we've all probably seen or at least heard about or can guess the content of The Social Dilemma, the movie that just came out. I watched like 10 minutes of it and I was like, I know this stuff. Like, I don't need to see it again. It's basically the tech giants have figured out that if they track every movement that we make, and even including getting little microphones in our house that they can also track and data mine, that they can know us and sell us things. And that's commerce, that's capitalism. And I'm not anti-capitalist, I'm a business owner, but it's part of the problem when you start to look at people only as products. And a lot of the free products we use, we're the products, literally. Like, they're using our data to sell to advertisers and we are the products. So you're seeing this sharp decline in social media use. You're seeing just people tuning out. So that's also why people are burnt out on events in general and probably not attending that many of your events. Nick says technology is supposed to work for us, not the other way around. That's absolutely right. But here's my hypothesis. It's on us. It's not the tech giants. It's not it's not the technology's fault, right? It's the user's fault. It's a what we call. I used to work at Radio Shack, and when we had a particularly how do I say this without being offensive? When we had a customer that was a little bit more abrasive or difficult, we would say that we had an ID 10T error, that was what was causing their problem. And I'll show you what that looks like in the chat, because it's we sometimes are idiots. We're idiots with our technology and the way we use it. And a backstory on that I love about the microwave is kind of relevant there. The founder of the microwave invented it because it was an era where it was predominantly housewives in the kitchen slaving over the dinner while the husbands were at work, regardless of, it's a stereotype, but that's how the 60s were, 50s, 60s. even though I wasn't born there. I've seen it on TV. But the microwave was used to free up that stigma, that stereotype, to get the moms, the wives of the household, around the table, like to keep them out of the, or get them out of the kitchen and actually spending time around the table with their families. And unintended use or unintended consequence of technology, now we're all, eating on the couch, or we're not getting around the table anymore. So, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is an evil person. I don't think, all of these people that are building technology want these things to happen, but we use it that way. Like, we're the ones that get sucked into our Facebook feed and forget to even call any of our friends. So I'll get off my soapbox on that, but use tech wisely. And today we're going to show you how to use it wisely. That might sound conceited because it's how we use it at Lunchpool, but we keep getting good feedback from our clients, and their attendees are raving about their events. So we'll just jump right in. Now, in the chat, as I pull this up, does anybody know what the word visceral is? Can you take a stab at that? Because I heard it and I didn't know what it was, but then I looked it up and I was like, that's a cool word. That's what we do. So Michael says, we want to addict people to positive things instead of negative. I like that. I like that a lot. So visceral, what do you, somebody let me know. Don't leave me hanging in the chat, and I will pull up what I'm going to show you guys. So can't look away. That's a good one. Anybody else got anything they think? Got that. Physical, gut reaction, emotional. It's good stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's that's exactly what it is. It's, you can't explain why you like it, but you get this feeling inside, and it just feels good. It makes you feel alive. It's, it's visceral. I think literally it's like relating to the viscera, like relating to your bodily systems or something like that. But, creating visceral connections, you saw that probably in the title. It can be hard, but not really. You just have to use empathy and think about, again, know your audience, and then think about what is going to make them feel alive. What's going to create this novel experience, but also give them value, whether it be, helping them see people that they haven't seen in a while, that they might not otherwise be able to see, to get away from that feeling of social isolation. Or if it's something like, learning something that's really, really valuable that they've been struggling with. So like if someone right now sent me an email and said, come to our how to use PowerPoint seminar, that would create a visceral reaction for me, because it's like, how did they know? I need to learn that. So let's jump right in. Let me see if I can share my screen. I'm just going to show you kind of how our process works, and we'll look at what we do to make it work really well. So I've waited too long and teased too much, not being able to, or without being able to show anything for it. So we're at that point where it's been 30 minutes. So I'm going to show off some of the cool toys. So this is something new that we have been developing. Our clients haven't even been able to use this one yet. If you want to be a client, hit me up later and we can try it out. Discount, because it's beta, and beta stuff, it's probably going to break. But basically, this is a way to break things up. So one of my big qualms, and one of the reasons we started, or one of the things that we're known for at Lunchpool, for you guys that don't know, my neighbors are all like, what does he do? Like, why doesn't he ever come out of his house? So what I do all day is organize these events that feel real. And we'll look at some of them. I've got some video clips. You guys can see my screen, right? Somebody nod your head. All right, awesome. And kind of the secret sauce, we didn't even know what we had for a little while, but the secret sauce was, we found a technology partner that allowed you to break up into tables. And that's it seems crazy simple, right? But this visual layout of a floor plan that looked kind of like a networking hall, and you could move around freely and with your own agency. Like, I want to go, oh, look, it's Bob over at the E2 generations table. I'll go hop over there. That freedom is what we were all missing. You're in a Zoom call right now. If you were like, man, Amy Davis is here, I really want to talk to her, but this Alex guy just won't shut up. In our experiences, you can go over there. You can, just like you could in a conference, you can go have those hallway conversations with people. So just a few of the experiences that we have done are luncheons, fundraising luncheons. I realized the power of virtual experiences when we did this Muse for All luncheon, and they raised $34,000 over a lunch break. And that's not to say that we did anything particularly special. That's to say that the Muse has supporters out there, right? It's the people that give to them every year. Just like if you're a nonprofit, I'm sure you have supporters that want to give money to you and just need an excuse. And so, giving them that visceral experience, you can see the chat front and center in most of our events. People felt engaged, and somebody gave 15 grand like on the spot. And so, I mean, I wish I had it like that financially. Maybe one day, if we if people keep hiring us. But that's one of the realities of it is if you hook people up with a nice experience, they're going to hook you up with whatever you're asking for. If you've targeted and done the research to make sure you're barking up the right tree. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through some of these pictures. This is a networking event we did with some Canadian group. This is on the other side, we do kind of corporate professional events. We also did a Tiger King virtual happy hour, and people even dressed up, which was amazing. And my friend Pooja wore a virtual toilet paper crown, which was also pretty amazing. We've been able to virtualize pitch competitions. So this was a student pitch competition that really, it brought me to tears. Like, it was a lonely tear because I'm not a big crier. But after this event, we were at one of the virtual tables, and one of the students that they won second place, but they came in. It was me, my employee, and the organizer that was our client. And the kid said, "I just want to thank you for doing this, for putting this on, because it's something that they did every year in person." And they were looking forward to it. And they had been working on their idea the whole school year, and then boom, pandemic, and they thought that it was going to get canceled. And that's what he said. My graduation's canceled. I have all these events that I want to go to that are canceled. Like, I just feel like adults have been giving up on us. And I was like, holy cow! Like, seriously, lonely tear. It was painful. So that's the kind of impact that you can have if you go through some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. So I don't want to scroll through all of them, but there's a world that you can unlock if you have a little bit of creativity, a little bit of grit, and a cool friend like me that just knows all the technology. So I will be all of your friend, and you can always email me. You don't have to hire me. It might take longer for me to email you back if you don't hire me, but I will write you back, and I will make suggestions for free. So my admin again is going to kill me by saying that, but she likes to make money. But I like to hook people up with virtual visceral experiences. So I just started this. This is one of the experiences, and you'll see that we have a lobby. So just like you would at a regular event. And then we have the main stage. So this is, like I said, this is our new experience. And I'll kind of talk through some of the psychology and some of the different elements of it. But you enter the main stage, and I don't know, we don't have the cooking stream anymore. I did have a cooking show planned for you guys, but again, tech glitches, so quickly pivot. But this is where people can see the content. So just like the talk that we're having right now, if we were hosting this in the platform, you guys could say, okay, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go click around a little bit. And people like clicking around. People like moving around. And so you could go to one of our other experiences. So we have here a dance party, and it's pretty fun. So I'm going to go and get to dancing. and my webcam is already in use, of course. So I can probably go to my other webcam. Probably, maybe not. We'll see. They're all in use. Anyway, I'll just join it. With this, you can move yourself around, and then other people can attend and move themselves around. So it's kind of interesting. And I don't know how I can get back to the chat here. Let's see. Sorry. Nobody likes dead silence either. You have to talk through stuff if you're doing it. I actually attended the webinar before this to do a little recon work, and he was like, "Okay, somebody please answer my question," and nobody did, and it was painful. I was like, "Don't ask any more questions. This is not the right group." Not like you guys who have been really engaging, so I appreciate that. I can stop sharing my screen. All right, there we go. All right, so are you guys able to see the Lunchpool, the dance party thing, thingamadoodle? Cool.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome. All right, so if anybody wants to hop in there just to give it a try, you'll have to hit next, or like, scroll through that little thing that I did, but then I'll show you. So we'll go to disco party. I'm gonna mute this tab so we don't get feedback. But John's in there. All right, we're gonna find some good music here. The Tramps. I don't know what that is. It sounds inappropriate, so we'll play it. I didn't read the code of conduct, so sorry. There we go. And so now we can dance. Like I can turn off my video here. Turn it on here. Oh man, I can't dance, but you can dance along, and like it's weird, right? But it's fun. And then you can actually pull over. The closer you are to somebody, you can actually hear their audio. So you can chat, you can move around. It's just a weird kind of thing that will engage people at your event. And so, that's not the whole event, but it's a nice little feature that will make people feel alive, and we've had a lot of people that actually go to these and dance in their seats. So if you will, let's hop out of there, because you could play around in there all day and then you won't listen to me and you won't learn, and I'll fail at my job today. So another one is the photo booth. And so I'll share with you the link to this. Actually, let's do it now, because I would love for you guys to send some pictures in here. Hopefully that works, but I'll just show you how it works. So has anybody seen a virtual photo booth yet? Because I've heard of other people doing it, but we had a lot of requests for it and I hadn't seen too many. So we found a solution. So you have a virtual event, you have a link off to a virtual photo booth, and turn off. Reload. Technical difficulties. This is what happens also when you try to do a webinar and also demo video-based applications. I think I broke my camera. But anyway, this would take a picture of me. And then all the attendees can see the other attendees. And you can do boomerang type of shots. You can do little overlays, and you could put branded frames. And so you could sell sponsorships to that if that floats your fancy. And then I wanted to put a University of Tennessee T here. Didn't have a chance, but you can create a mosaic out of all the different pictures. So this is a dog. It's not my dog, but that's a really cool dog, and I wish it was. So thinking around how can I create something that mimics the real world, but also adds value. You can't do this with a photo book or a photo booth in the real world. Some of the other experiences are like the cocktail hour that we have. You can, I'm just failing to show anything. I'll give you guys the link to this so you can play around. This is still a work in progress. Like I said, it's very demo, beta, but these are some of the experiences that we incorporate in our other events. And please beach party work. It's not going to work. Oh, it's working. Well, my camera doesn't work, but you can play on the beach. You know, we have boating outings. It's, you know, it's not real, but it makes you feel cool. And not only is it novel, but you can still connect with people there. You can talk about it. You can talk about your life and what's been happening. So all the while, you know, on the main stage, there's a video going on. You know, there's something, the main show. And if the main show is really engaging, your people will watch that. But if they get kind of bored, they'll go find something else to do. And hopefully it's within your experience. We have networking, so you could go to networking and you can network one-on-one with different people in a video chat, so you can see who's there, a little contact card. And then, you know, of course, the chat and the polls and the things like that. So I'll show you, this is, like I said, the new experience, but some of our experiences that we're known for. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Jessica says, can you purchase just the photo booth or the dance party? We can definitely show you how to do that. And it's not, those aren't for sale on their own right now, but we're looking to productize those. So let me know, you can test it out beforehand. And I'd love to, you know, let you be my guinea pig. We'll make sure that it doesn't break on you, but you can, it may not, it may be also a beta experience. Awesome. But I have some videos here of past experiences that went really well. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the organization Girl Talk, but they're really cool for one thing. And then they also, they every year have a fashion show. And they were like, you know, by golly, we want to have the fashion show again. And so they brought in a video production team. And I'm not sure. I should have tested my audio first probably, but let's see if we can get it going. Hang on. I don't know if the audio is going to work either, but you can kind of see the movement here, and I can share these videos out later. But like, this is very well produced, right? This is a live production with elements of pre-recorded video built in, but you know, this is the kind of thing that people are expecting these days. And so we don't do the video production in-house. We usually go and find experts. And so again, if you want recommendations on experts in your area, we probably know them. We have some in Knoxville, some in Memphis. I don't know if I know any in Chattanooga yet, but most of them will travel as well. So again, you know, just giving people the experiences. We had a ton of fun with this one. The bar trivia night is something that we had a great time with. So I need to probably quickly go through this one because there was some probably inappropriate smack talking in the chat here. But you know, it's just, look at the challenges, look at the things that people enjoy or enjoyed in the real world, and try to figure out how you can recreate those in a virtual setting. So I'm going to skip out of that one because I think there were definitely some inappropriate things there. This one is not inappropriate. So this is a Wedbush. They are a you know, big corporation, and it's a fireside chat. So if you're with a corporate entity, you know, you can have a direct line from your CEO to the entire company, and you know, that's valuable. That's even going to be valuable post COVID. And so, you know, just thinking about, you know, this one had 208 people, which is a lot. But then at the breakout sessions, because we had those table-based breakouts, they can all connect with one another, and people could find the executive leadership and go to those meetings. And I don't know if you guys have seen Office Space, but we also did something at the end called Aloha Fridays, and I felt like I was in Office Space. It's people dressed up in their Hawaiian shirts, and they had a little Hawaiian shirt luau contest. Hang on, I think it's right here. It was awesome. Like, you know, like, and everybody there, even the people that weren't actively dressed up or participating, felt alive. You know, it was just surreal. I was glad to be a part of it. This guy's playing the ukulele. And we did, if you guys, any of you guys from Knoxville will probably know about the ribbon cutting from the UT Research Farm at Cherokee Park. So ribbon cuttings. I know you guys know Randy Boyd. I think he was, or I know he was at this one as well, and Tom. But I just want to give you an example of some of these experiences, and then we'll get into kind of how the planning goes for it. I got fashion show in there twice, but fundraising luncheon. So this was Dolly Parton. I like to say Dolly Parton was in my event. It was pre-recorded. She wasn't actually there, but she was in it. But this is the Seeds of Imagination library that my daughter subscribes to, and they were able to raise, I think it was like $65,000. So, you know, again, this isn't a sales pitch, but if you're interested, it is very nuanced, the way that we do things. But if you're interested in learning how, you know, what are some tools, what are some technologies, we're going to talk about some here in a second. But you can also email me and I'll give you advice. And even if you don't hire us, like I want people to feel alive. That's my goal and my mission. So, you know, we had Dr. Geidner had his students had made a documentary about Dolly Parton. And we celebrated that. You know, there's a lot of smiles at our events, and that makes me feel happy because, you know, that we're creating those visceral connections. Let me check the chat to make sure you guys aren't like, okay, we can't hear you. We haven't been able to hear you for the last 10 minutes. Let me go to some questions for a second. So let's see. Nick says, it looks like the trivia teams were able to use their team names in the conference table setting. Exactly. So we can customize those names, and I'll show you a little bit of that. Nate says, how customizable are the events to the max? They're 100, you know, all over the place, the different use cases that we have. Can you keep people in the room for certain aspects that ask for support, and the support raised through an app? Yeah, so like I said, this is a pretty new experience that I wanted to use to kind of quickly go between the different events. Usually this part that you're seeing in the video, that's the whole event for us. So it is very controlled. It's a room with tables. This is us experimenting, because we're experimenters, with a building with rooms with tables, you know, so that's it's the new. John?
So Alex, can they move on from table to table, or can you keep them in place if you want to at some point?
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So you can assign seating, but we like to say it's like the real world where you can't just like lock somebody to a table, so they can move around. And then in our events, we have somebody on staff. I highly recommend having a support team there to deal with those frustrations that you guys all know happen, tech troubleshooting, things like that. So we have someone on hand that we can kick them out. You know, we're kind of like the digital bouncers if they're acting up or not going to the right place. This users that may not be very tech savvy, like, so this stuff is kind of complicated, right? Or it looks complicated. Like, man, I would probably have to hire Lunchpool to put something on like that. And that's, you know, I would love for you to, but you don't have to be, right? You don't have to be tech savvy or in the know with the latest tools. Let me stop my screen share for a moment and tell a story. We belong to a co-working space in St. Petersburg, Florida. And, you know, it was awesome. I love being around different people. If any of you work out of an office or a co-working space, you probably miss the little water cooler moments. And so that co-working space doubled down on virtual events, to the point where I was like, man, I kind of want to go to one, but there's so many that I don't think I can't even pay attention to it. But I finally joined one of their Friday happy hours, and it wasn't happy. You know, it was just like this with, you know, it was like forced and awkward conversations. And so, you know, it wasn't happy. And I don't know if that's how all their events went, but like, I was like, we can easily, without any technology or any new technology, mix this up, right? we can fix this. So I did a little experiment, as I do. And we can do it right now, and we should do it right now because I've been talking for way too long. Thank you, Nate, for coming on and saving me from myself. But I want to do a little exercise right now, and hopefully somebody will be brave, unlike that last webinar where nobody was brave. And just I want to give people the opportunity, with so much darkness and so much despair, and the election that's, thank God, behind us. Kind of, it's still kind of ongoing, I guess. But I want to give an opportunity to think about what you're grateful for. So just, anything that right now you're feeling, man, I'm so glad that X, like, I'm so glad that my wife hasn't divorced me yet, because I spend too much time working lately. But mine is actually, I'll start it off. Mine is that I am really blessed by the University of Tennessee, because they pay my wife really well to teach students and do what she loves, do the research that she loves. And it does afford me to pull out a startup CEO salary of not very much, even though we're finally making money. And so I see some stuff in the chat, but I want you guys to actually hop on. So, if you're feeling froggy, some of you are already on video, so just unmute. I think that you should have the rights to do so. And just, I'll shut up. Let me know what you're thankful for right now.
I'm grateful for job security during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's awesome, Faith. Thank you. Yeah, job security is huge right now. Not a lot of people have that.
I'm glad to be able to see my kids throughout the day when they're at their school things and I'm at work, and I just get to see more of them and spend more time with them. So I'm thankful for that.
That's awesome. I'm guessing it's Michael or Michael.
Yeah,
Michael, that's awesome. And I even had the same feeling when the pandemic first started. Like, I was like, holy cow, I have to be a parent now. Because, it was get them up in the morning, take them to daycare, and then, put them to bed after dinner. But actually spending time with the family was amazing. In the neighborhood that Nate and I live in, like, we moved during the pandemic, and getting to know your neighbors was like a new concept almost. But that's what you see across the country. Laura says thankful for all the veterans. Anybody else want to jump in on video? My mom's here, so I'm going to call out my mom, and I know she's thankful for something, hopefully.
I'm thankful that I'm getting to join all of you today.
Awesome.
And I love you.
Oh, okay. Now I'm embarrassed. I think I just turned red. So can I mute her? Okay, you're muted. Sorry. But anybody else want to go? Maybe one or two more, and then I'll explain. Well, for one thing,
I'm grateful to be able to work from home.
Nice. Yes. Oh my goodness. I couldn't wear a hat at my corporate jobs, but they can't stop me at home.
Thankful for a healthy family.
Healthy family. That's amazing. So we could spend all day with this gratitude exercise, and it would make my heart really big, or feel really good. And Dolores reminded me, Mom, I do love you too. I love you a lot, and thank you for everything. But this is what I did in that happy hour, right? I was just like, we're all just waiting for our turn to talk, and it's like, oh yeah, so today, yeah, I've got some new business, and da 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 da. I'm struggling, I was like, let's shift the tone a little bit, and it feels good, right? You can't explain why. It's that visceral thing. Like, it's so good to hear about Michael's connection with his kids, and to see my mom embarrass me in front of, I don't know, however many people are here. And so, that's going to the non-techie way, right? People early on were saying, hey, you got this platform, you must hate Zoom or whatever. I'm like, no, I like Zoom. We do some events in Zoom. It's just a matter of thinking about, how can I build connection? How can I show people that they're alive and that they're not just a box on this screen? And so I'll kind of walk you through how we do our events, and this will be some of the not too technical, but just kind of, if you're not techie, this is how you can do it. And so we've got a little bit of time. I'm not gonna, like I said, keep you the same the whole hour and 30 minutes unless you want to. Yolanda said, is UT considering purchasing an enterprise license? I hope so. We do. Our plan is like a Trojan horse attack where we do a business with each individual department. And then the school is like, why are we spending so much money with this company? Because then we don't have to go through procurement right away. Don't nobody tell UT that, because that's my strategy, and it's top secret. But let's just kind of walk through it, and I'll show you step by step the tools that we use, the how we put it all together. So again, you guys are getting a front row seat. If you wanted to go start your own business, you could do it. You could start a Lunchpool competitor. We've actually created some because I do talk too much sometimes for YouTube. Okay, well, awesome. That's fine. It's all good, Nick. Because again, I think the world that we're living in now, it's not dog eat dog, it's dog feed dog. It's, idea sharing and pointing to new innovations and showing people how you do things, especially in the world of virtual events. Like, we have more customers than we can handle. So if you do start another company, let me know and we'll refer customers over to you, and hopefully for some kind of affiliate commission or something. But and if you want to come work for us after learning all this, we're hiring. So let's share my screen again. Let's see. All right, hopefully you guys can see my screen. So, the different experiences that we had in the platform there were varied. I have a whole list of about 80 tools. I call it empathy tech. And that's something that, I'm trying to make a thing, but, it's technology that builds empathy, that, makes us feel more connected. And so the first one that we found was Remo, and that's really the one that we're known for, because I found this company that was about the same size as we were last year, and they were, they were figuring it out. They had some clients, and I saw it, and I said, "Can I use you guys for a virtual lunch break?" Because we were trying to figure out how to bring video in for remote employees at that time, and their prices are a lot higher than they were back then. So we got really early, and I know the CEO, and we've got a pretty good partnership going. But they've blown up, but this is a really cool tool. And this is what we use to power most of our experiences, from that table-based networking concept. So, we've got an account with them, and we've, we've got some of our other tools baked into our experience, but it's a really cool tool. And actually, we also have an affiliate program with them. So if you do decide to go get it, you don't have to, but we give free training if you use our link. So my admin will be very happy. If you watch this, see, I tried to make some money. Go/Remo. So you can click that link and that will cookie you in. So within 60 days, if you decide to go get it, we'll get credit. But you can also hire us and we can do all the work for you. But, you come into here and then you set up the event. But that's not all, it's not all inclusive, because you're going to have to get people there. So let me know in the chat if you've done some events, like, what do you guys use for registrations? And I can tell you what I recommend. Pull the chat back up. Eventbrite, Google Forms, Eventbrite, Cvent. Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't really, you can use any number of tools, but the tool that we use is Eventbrite, because it has a ton of integrations, and integrations is the name of the game these days. And so, the main thing is making it easy for your clients. And out of all the different tools that we researched, Eventbrite and RegFox, which is another good one, were the ones that really kind of stood out above the rest. And so I don't have affiliate links with either of those, but you can go and sign up for both of those. They have pretty good pricing models as well, so it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. But that's one thing that you want to look for, is tools that are a good user experience. Like Google Forms, nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't have the ability to send out emails automatically. So you might you might drop the ball on communicating the event to your people. Eventbrite does a really good job of that. So then you'll have your attendee list. Now, after you have your attendee list, are you done? Absolutely not. I got at least 6 emails from John. No, I'm just kidding. But they did a really good job promoting this event, and that's why you guys are here. So, you can't just invite people. It's not a if you build it, they will come scenario. You have to reach out. You have to engage with them. And a lot of people don't check their email like me. I have a lot of emails right now. I'll pull it up and probably be embarrassed. And this is how a lot of your people are. Yeah, I need to probably write some of those people back. But, you have to break through the noise. So does anybody besides the registration page use any channels like social media? How are you guys, promoting the event? Because we're going to kind of go through the funnel of event creation. So Zoom's built-in registration for this event. That's a decent one too. The thing I don't like about Zoom's built-in registration that I like about Eventbrite's is that Zoom's doesn't automatically add it to your calendar. Eventbrite does, and that's a nice thing to have because you get reminders even if you don't email them. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, awesome. Yeah, that's I heard in the other session that's the holy trinity of social media, where non-UTK events, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, awesome. So yeah, private event does make it challenging, but even for private events, you can still put it on your social media channels and let them know, here's the link to sign up. It's exclusive. Or if you have like a Facebook group for your community, you can put it just in that group so only members will see it. But you got to promote it. That's the main thing. And now when you promote it, let me stop my screen share for a second. When you promote it, it's important to build in those visceral, those meaningful, those human words, right? People don't want to see webinar. It's a dirty word these days. Just don't use it. Figure out another way to say it. So session is also, it's fringe. But, experience, we use it all the time because I don't know is this a session? I don't know. It's a webinar series, isn't it? I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth. But, you have to let people know this isn't another Zoom call like you've been in all day long at work. This is going to be fun. This is going to be engaging. This is going to be interactive. Like those are the words that people want to see and that catch their eyes. And you have to come through on that. You can't just have another Zoom meeting and then you trick people into going and they're like, I hate you and I'm never going to do business with you ever again. But it is important to communicate properly. And so that not only goes with the text, it also is the imagery that you use, right? You could just have your logo. Cool. That was one of the bits of feedback I was going to give to John. Beautiful logo that you guys have. But you could put some people smiling or learning or like with a little light bulb above their head. And we try to use people having a good time in all of our event promotional material, including the very, businessy corporate kind of things, because they're human too, right? It's all about connection these days. So, and John, I'm just giving you guys a hard time. You're doing a great job. But so that's the promotion, right? You have to understand the motivation that would compel the audience members that you're after to come to your event. And that's both magnitude, which is like how motivated are they, and nature, like why would they be motivated? What would get them to come? What are they trying to do in their life that would get them to come to a webinar like this? Like, I'm guessing that all you guys are looking to host virtual events. If you're not, interesting, please tell me afterwards why you came. My mom, I guess, isn't probably trying to do that, but her magnitude is high because she loves her son and wants to see if he's actually doing productive things with his time. So, that's the magnitude. Then you got to look at the value, right? So you understand what's important to these people, to the people that you're trying to reach. You understand, how important it is. Now, how are you going to let them know you understand? How are you going to articulate that value proposition. I'm a marketer, guys, so I use all these crazy fancy words, but how are you going to let them know that they're going to enjoy and it's going to be worth their time? Every transaction, every decision almost that we make these days is a commitment and a value exchange. It's like, I'm going to give you my time, my attention. And so hopefully I exchange value and am exchanging value by giving you information that you can use. And my other hunch was that you guys could also use a little bit of a laugh. So even though I probably made no one laugh, hopefully I made you, with the gratitude exercise, think about what you're grateful for. Yeah, and Michael says every meeting and presentation can be more of an event. Absolutely, I totally agree. But you got to put some foresight into it. So laughing on the inside, yeah, that's what that's the only kind of laughs I get is silent ones. But so, you know, just going through the kind of funnel. So you got to get them there, and you do that by understanding their motivations, and then also delivering a value, a valuable promise. And you have to come through on that. But there's different components of the value offering, and that's, is it credible? This is where I wish I had my presentation if I knew how to use PowerPoint, because this would actually be a good visual. But you can write it down if you guys are note takers. Is it credible? Do I believe them? Like if I was to say, this session that you come to is going to make you $5 million guaranteed, you'd probably be like, I do not believe that. You know, I don't think that this guy's for real. So, you know, if I was to say I can help you create visceral experiences and you've heard anything about us, you probably are like, okay, that's believable. But so there's credibility. There's also exclusivity. Can I get this anywhere else? Like, if I saw another how to thrive in COVID, how to pivot your business in COVID webinar back in March or April, I was ready to just turn my computer off, throw it out the window. Like, that's all that people were popping up. And like, how are you going to get people to come to an event that is the same title as 70,000 other events? So, you know, is it exclusive? How do you put your own twist on it, even if it is similar? And then the other one is it clear? You know, like, it can be believable and exclusive, but if you don't clearly say it, you have, I think the stat is you have about 4 minutes on average to reach your audience. Like, that's not a lot of time. I'm sorry, did I say minute? 4 seconds. I think it's like 2 seconds these days. But people are scrolling through their feed. You know, they're clicking tabs. How many tabs do you guys have open right now? I'm doing really well because I restarted before this. But I think the average for me is like 60. And somebody go count how many tabs you have. Put it in the chat. I'll keep going though. But so, you know, you have to clearly articulate your exclusive value proposition in a way that is credible and believable. And 9 tabs, that's not bad. It's still a lot though. But that's the messaging. That's getting people there. So once they're there, once they actually, that's getting them to sign up. So you've probably seen that where you get registrations. The statistics that would also look really good in the slide that we have are free events get about a 50% attendance rate. So that's, if you get 100 people to sign up, you're probably going to have about 50 people that actually attend. How many people are attended this one, John? Do you have that stat right in front of you?
Right now we got 40 on.
Yeah, so there's about 56, I think, and that's like spot on. That I think there was about 108 or 9 that registered. So if you you got to overshoot. If you want to have 100 people there, you're going to need to invite 200 if it's a free event, because it's low commitment, and people have all kind of other things competing for their attention. If it's a paid event, then you get a little bit higher. It's usually still only about 70 to 75. I don't know why people pay for stuff and then don't go to it, but it's a weird reality. And so you got to get them to sign up. You got to get them to come, and the messaging, like we talked about in the emails, in the social media posts, that's how you get them to come. You hype, not hype it up, like hype is a negative word, but like you got to hype it up, show them that it's something to spend their time on, even if they've already committed to go. Digital RSVPs are not like in-person RSVPs. If someone says they're coming to my family's dinner party, if Nate says, hey, I'll be there, I'm going to bring some squash, and he doesn't come, I'm going to give him a hard time. But if it's a digital thing, it's less pressure. It's easier to opt out and not even say anything about it. So, you got to get them to come to your event. And now at the event, that's when it's really important to do the things like we showed. So again, I'll send a list of some tools, but you saw Remo, you saw our affiliate link. So that's really the only affiliate link we have because we do so much business with them. But there's another tool. Let me share some tools with you guys because that's the fun stuff. So if any of you do smaller events that need like prompts, so like something like the gratitude exercise we did, we could do that with Toasty, and I would really, really enjoy these events. So you can break out. Zoom does breakouts, right? But on this, you can break out based on quiz responses, and you can easily bring them all back together. So this is different than the Remo experience where you can freely move around. In this one, you control it as the host, but you control it in a really fun and interactive way, and you can pre-fill cards. I think I have a picture on here. They do not have a picture, but you could say, have little prompts and time when they go off. That's a great one. The Spatial Chat is the one that we used for the beach party that we were moving, or the dance party that we were moving around in. And so that's spatial.chat. And I'll send a list of these, John, for sharing out later, but we can put them in the chat as well. So Spatial Chat, it allows you to move around. You can put a custom background on there. Those are the main ones that we use. Rally is a new one. They're a Y Combinator startup, which if you're probably not from the startup space, so you're like, what does that mean? It's a really highly sought after accelerator that produces the likes of Snapchat, PayPal, like some of these really big companies, and probably not those exact examples, but companies on that caliber. This one is what I call pure networking, because you get in there and it's literally none of the other elements. There's no chat, no distractions, no ads. It's just you just talk to people, and you can move into the breakout rooms just like you could in the Remo experience. And then the next evolution, let's see. Oh, my mom says, I don't know what she's talking about. We'll talk about that later, Mom. But there's some new experiences as well. Like we're building a partnership right now with Gamer Jibe. And this was created by gamers, but your supporters would probably love it too. You can see that you have a little avatar and you're in like a in-browser video game type of thing, but you can walk up to the bar and buy a virtual drink. I don't think it actually costs virtual money, but you can go to presentations, and they have actually a dance party there as well. I think you hold your avatar over the dance floor and it just starts dancing. It is hilarious. They do exhibitor halls. This is the stuff that's popping up, and this is why I don't mind sharing some of the tools that we use, because it's all in how you use it, right? We've got if you start, lunch or dinner pool and you're our competitor, and use some of the stuff that we talked about, that's okay, because we've done 300 of these or 200 of these, and we know it pretty well. But the tools again are less important than the purpose and the understanding your audience and what's impactful for them. And so I'd say those are the two main things. I'm going to wrap it up here because I've been talking a lot, and I'd like to do a Q&A briefly if that's okay. But the two most important things. So if you walk away with anything, walk away with this. You've got to connect first with your audience. Like you have to make that connection. And that's the only way to do that is by understanding them, by either surveying or, watching how they interact with your emails, social channels, things like that, or just talking to people. It's a very novel concept. But understand who you're trying to get to come to your events and connect with them via your copy, via your imagery. And then the other thing is figure out what's important to them and deliver on that. So no matter what platform you use, no matter if you hire like you could hire us, if you don't know your audience, we can't help you there. We could try, we can give you some cool, novel experiences, but the content is what's going to bring them in, and the programming is what's going to keep them there and keep them engaged. So so number one, connect with your audience. Number two, figure out what it is and deliver on what's important to them and deliver on that. And the third one is give them an opportunity to connect with each other. And that's the kicker. That is our secret sauce. It's every event that we do, we bake in networking, because if you don't have an opportunity to connect people, they're going to disconnect. They're going to leave that event and get distracted by everything else going on in their life. So, those are the three things really that will help you be Lunchpool-y and build visceral virtual experiences instead of virtual events that are, a dime a dozen these days. So my opportunity for everybody to connect is going to be the Q&A, but then also if you're feeling froggy, post in your LinkedIn. I won't make you do your Facebook because this is a professional thing, but post your LinkedIn in the chat, and then just click away, like connect with some people here, because obviously you guys are all kind of in the same boat, at least in the regards of being interested in virtual events. So I'll post mine, and I would love if you connected with me. But I'd like to open up the floor now to do some Q&A. And that can be in chat. I'll let John kind of pick those, but you can also just, hop on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. And we actually had a question already come up in the chat from Stephanie. It says, which tool would you recommend to engage the community in a toy drive?
The toy drive. No, it's an interesting one. So if you're going to feel brave, do you mind giving me some more context around the toy drive? Like, what do you guys usually do for the toy drive? What are the elements that usually happen? And if you don't come on, I can kind of take a stab and guess. Nope. All right, well, Stephanie, what I would do is collection boxes at area businesses. Okay. Well, luckily now people are kind of venturing out of their homes again, safely distanced and with masks. But I would say, you could either do what I would do. What I would recommend is starting with your social media, put together a plan of action with some nice graphics, with some nice imagery, and then put out that campaign. Use MailChimp, use whatever email software you use, but keep that same element, right? Have the boxes. I would probably have them outside if there's some way to safely do that. But you want to probably have some kind of event that talks about why you're doing it, right? And so what I would use is I would probably kick it off with just a Zoom webinar, but I would do that. You want to talk about creating visceral connections. Have a child that's going to impact in your programming. Like, have them talking about how they participated last year and they got a teddy bear and they had never had a teddy bear before, something like that. Like, it'll choke you up, but that'll connect with people. You can share that content out later during the campaign. And then you can do a kickoff. So then, do a Remo event and hire us, of course, in our space. But you can showcase, like, you could have, like, before you deliver them all out, you could have the truck in the background and show, like, we're about to deliver all these toys thanks to you guys. And you could even do it the day before so they can still have a chance to give some more toys. So, I mean, again, it's about how you connect with the audience. But the tools can shift around, but email me later too, and I can share with you some other tools that you can mix in. Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or concerns, comments?
You brought up something earlier, and I was just kind of curious to follow up on that about hybrid events. Is that something you just say, don't even bother with a hybrid event, or what are your like overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, so it depends on how you do it, right? The one that I kind of mentioned earlier that we refunded, the only refund we've ever given, because everybody is usually pretty happy or very happy. What they were trying to do was have a predominantly in-person event. So they had 50 people at a country club, but they wanted to give a networking option. And it was really not that well highlighted. You know, they didn't really want to promote it that much. They just wanted to have it as an option. So they had a video crew film the presenters and then broadcast it in our virtual space. But I was like, you know, it's got a disconnect between the two audiences. So, you know, I don't really see why you would want to do that. The hybrid events that I've seen work really well are the ones that are well produced and then broadcast, right? Like our events, we still have the table networking, but then we did one with Nashville Technology Council that was amazing. They brought in their own video production company and they set up a little studio. You know, they handled the live switching with, they had an art director that, you know, set all that up. And you don't have to get that fancy with it, but the idea is just having a few people, you know, safely socially distanced and whatnot, but having them in one place and broadcasting that. So you have that live element, but then people can still, you know, be online and consume that content. All right. Is it necessary to subscribe to a paid plan with Slido? Sorry, I'm just taking the questions. I saw it pop up. Did that answer your question about I think that was your question, John. I don't know.
Yeah, it did. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah. So Amanda asks, is it necessary to subscribe to a paid plan with Slido, Rally, Gamer Job, etc. If we want to use these tools in addition to hiring Lunchpool for an event, or are these free? So currently the tools that we use, we pay for. We integrate those all into our platform, and we hobble together is probably not a good way to put it, but we craft a unique bespoke experience for you. And so,
Alex, can I interrupt here?
Yes, please
So
do.
it's kind of like you kind of like whitelist these.
Yeah, we white label.
White label.
We white label them for the most part, and then we'll push those providers. We'll build partnerships with them so that we can integrate pretty seamlessly. So you don't have to have a bunch of different logins. And so some of them we don't have that integration with, but for the most part, those are ones that you don't have to log in. So exactly right. We're a connection company more than we're a tech company. So we love connecting with different technology partners so that we can pay them, out of our fee. But you as the end user just come to us and say, this is what I want to do. And we consult with you and make it happen. It's very, again, the reason we've only been able to do 200 events since March is because it is very customized. It's very bespoke. We're looking to productize some of those so you could just sign up for it and have a easy self-serve option. But most of our clients, they'll either keep doing events with us or they'll hire us to train their staff on here's the tools we use, here's how you can create a similar experience. So so hire us and we'll throw it in. We'll do whatever we can. Good question though. Anyone else got a final word? We actually went the whole time. I'm sorry. I promised that I wasn't going to do that, and I did.
Pamela's got her hand up.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you explain a little bit more how the networking would work? Because I've often thought about before we get started with a topic, everybody to come in early so that you can do some networking. And most of the alums that I've talked to, like that hasn't been like, oh, yay, because normally networking people gravitate to the people they want to talk to. So tell me a little bit more about how we can use some of these tools to do this networking. What does that really look like?
Definitely. No, that's a great question. So I'm wondering if I have one live that I could show you. I could talk through it though. Basically, you're right. Just like in real life, when you have networking, people are going to gravitate to the people that they know. We had one event. I'm gonna see if I can pull it. It was with UTK, so it's actually a pretty good example if I can find it. University. can't remember what it was.
As you're looking for that last and part of
Sure,
the
sure.
question is then like sometimes I could see where in certain groups you could actually have kind of like a forced speed networking.
Yep,
And
that's
these
it.
tools could do that. Switch people and, but there's kind of some of those events are even usually paid for when you say, I want to go to a networking or job interview or job fair or, pitching government contracts. But I'm just looking for general kind of social networking among people who have a common background, which for
Yeah.
me would be my alumni from my college.
Definitely. So yeah, great segue, and great question. So, we have like this event was one for students to network with companies, right? And so each company had their own table, and we would make an announcement every so often, like, hey, it's time to switch. Go to the next table. Just like those in-person networking events. We haven't done a speed dating, but it would work really well for a speed dating. I'm just concerned that it would be off brand for us, but I mean, we're a connection company, so hey. As far as the other type of events, right, where it's not so structured, I guess, what you can do, this is the Maker City Summit that we helped put together. And so you see how each table has just a table name. What you can do is you can actually, well, I didn't have very much of the networking mode there. I'll see if I can pause it. There we go. We can change those table names on the fly, right? So a lot of our clients will have us, and you can do this if you have just the license to the tool. You can go in and change those names as the things come up. It's amazing when we do demos. I usually change one of the, like during the event, I'll change one of the table names to the Cool Kids table, and everybody flocks there. Everybody wants to be at the Cool Kids table. But you could, in the chat say, hey, what are some topics you guys are interested in or you're struggling with? And then change the name of the tables to those and say, hey, go find your table to discuss those topics. So there are a number of ways, but I'd say that's, again, it goes back to understanding what is important to them, and then saying, if you just leave it open, then it is going to be like finding the people that you want. If you don't see anybody that you might tune out. But if you can come up with unique ways to give them an excuse, then that works really well. We've even had it to where we gave them a prompt. So at the Muse event, we would give them table topics, and we would put in the chat, like, think about your first experience with the Muse and discuss that. And, like, it gives people a reason to talk when, we're all kind of socially awkward these days because we're spending so much time on Facebook and especially now spending so much time online. But great question, Pamela. And if you need more ideas, and like I said, me or my team are happy to. I've got one employee, Paul. I don't know if he'll watch this, but the dude has notebooks on notebooks. If I tell him to, like, I was like, we need to brainstorm, he'll come to the brainstorm having already brainstormed. And I like to stick him on our clients that maybe don't have the budget but need some ideas. All right, so we're done. Thank you guys again for attending. I don't know if John has anything to wrap it up with, but I will put together a PowerPoint with some of the notes that we had, and that way you can have something to walk away with. But again, you got to connect with the people, and then you got to give them something meaningful and give them an excuse to connect with each other. So thank you so much for tuning in, and again, thank you, University of Tennessee, for letting me ramble and show off my cool toys for a little while. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. And don't forget to connect with each other too.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you everybody who attended. And this was recorded, so this it will be available probably sometime next week on our website. So if you want to go back and rewatch any of the sections, it'll be available to you. And Alex, I think you just said you're going to put together a PowerPoint for us to send around, and anything else we can send out, we will to everybody that registered. So thank you all again for your time and for being here. And Alex, thank you so much for your expertise and insight, sharing that with us today.
Thank you.
Great. Great.
Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day. And yeah, don't forget to take a break to connect. Man, that was really corny, but I had to have like an outro line. Bye, guys.
And with that, we're out.
And everybody, like, it's like that ruined the whole thing.